the difference between you being alive in the field or being dead can be less than a half a second. Hamas, the way they fight and the way they are supported also, sadly, by their people, it makes it very, very hard for us to live up to the insane expectations from like the world, like from all the eyes are like watching us, just looking for mistakes. Me as a soldier, I try not to look at what the world is saying. I'm here to do my job, and at the end of the day, I'm also human, and I'm not gonna be humane because the world is like watching me. I'm gonna be humane because I'm not a person who would just want to kill people. Our main job at the end of the day is to protect our people, to have Israeli citizens live safely. Every time before we got into the situations, like our commanders would talk to us. Look, at the end of the day, it's a family, and the people around the suspect are not necessarily involved, and like you have to be treating them with respect. Every arrest I ever had, the family itself was non-resistant, but like the village or whatever, rocks and stuff like this, they would throw stuff from roofs and try to hurt us in some way. You could see a rain of stone just coming at you. So you have to be very sharp to know, of course, to move away from the stones, to always look up. One of my friends wasn't so sharp and got hit in the face and all his teeth broke, like stuff like this. Like, I know they hate us. They like, they're being taught that we are demons, that they're awful, that, like we are not humans. And they have a lot of hate towards us. And from very young age, like you could see 10 years old, 11 years old, their hobbies would be to throw rocks at the passing cars or soldiers. And especially during, there's Ramadan periods, they have their holidays. I don't think much about them, or like, I don't see that. It's like a situation that is given. Like, I know they don't really know Jews personally, for a fact. For me, it was like very important to be very human and to treat the family like I think is appropriate for a family to treat kids and mothers and whatever.
Do you feel like it makes a difference?
I'm not a political person. I don't see things in a political way. I'm not like expecting from other people
do you feel like you're unique in that, or are most soldiers like that?
Mm-hmm. Of course, there's like exceptions. Well, here and there, it's like tens of thousands of soldiers.
But have you seen exceptions yourself?
Personally, no.
No, never. So you everybody you worked with, you feel like they had the same standards as you had?
I believe so. Hey everyone, I'm Daniel. Nice to meet you. I'm so excited to tell my story.
Okay. All right, let's start. What does it mean to be in combat? What training did you go through? And how do you get elected to be in combat?
Okay, so it's different for every unit in the army. Some units are considered elite, some special, some are like more groundwork. There's the armored corps, there's the pilots, like all these different branches. And of course, there's the option to be a jobnik, like Rebecca said.
Even though I had a lot of, just for on my defense, right? I had to go through a lot of test days to get the job I had.
No, she was in a very, very, very impressive, very hard to get to job that many people fight for.
I think you're more impressive. I could never do what you've done.
No. Please. I beg.
Okay.
I tried to get into being a pilot. I tried to get into Set Matkal, all the elite units.
Yeah,
there were like
forces.
many tests before getting into the army. Of course, you have to work hard to get through the interviews. And like it's a two-way street. Like you have to choose them and they have to choose you at the same time. So me personally, I was like interviewing to the same units, like all the computer units, all the intelligence units. But deep down, I decided at the end of the day that I'm mostly sick of studying and doing like sitting jobs. And also I was like I figured like if I'm gonna give 3 years of my life to the country,
It ended up being a lot more.
it ended up being a lot
Even
more.
now, you've been serving for how long?
I think it's if you count all the days together, it gets to 4 years.
At least, isn't it? Like
Yeah, I think so.
you now, since the war started, you've been serving for like what, 5 months, 6 months? And now
Yeah, like 5 months at the first round. I'm starting another round. I have 40 days in the heat. It's gonna be rough, but I'm gonna get through it. We're strong. I have the support of the family behind me.
The support and light pressure.
The light pressure to come back, maybe.
Yeah, I mean.
But yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. And I figured like I love the country. The country gave everything to me, and like the people I love, the people I care about. So I figured if I'm giving 3 years of my life, I would give like the best I could, the most of me I could. And I thought like, what a better place to do that than in a combat role, like in a combat special forces role. So I tried to get into a few units. One of them was like Seret Matkal, Shet 13, which I couldn't get into. Those people are like insane, like next level physical ability, mental ability. I can't say enough about how impressive the people they are. But I also didn't want to do more than 3 years in the army because I had like my own ambitions, and which is another like layer to say how impressive they are and how like selfless they are, that they do this insane operations for the safety of the people of Israel.
Yeah, I mean they're borderline insane though.
Maybe
a little bit crazy.
I know quite a few of them. Yeah, they're a bit crazy, but they're so impressive there.
It is always impressive, like when somebody is like knows,
yeah,
what they want and what like, and they're willing to do whatever, just serve the country, do those crazy things, and like train for it. For a lot of them, train for it for all of their lives, or like to get those jobs. Like to get into special forces, from what I've known.
Some, like many of them, are just like very, like let's say Seret Matkal, are very sharp people. They would not necessarily be the most physically fit and the strongest, but they're sharp and smart. So at the end of the day, what's more important in combat is not it's of course physical ability is huge, but it's like many times it can get overlooked by other abilities, which is like being able to operate in very high pressure situations, to be able to take a lot of information at the same time in the field, because it can get very hectic very quick, and like very very fragile situations in which like one mistake can make a huge difference to your whole team. Anyway, we are off the track.
So you went through a lot of tests until you got to the special unit you actually served it.
Yes, I got through a lot of tests, and eventually I got to the special unit of the Armored Corps, which is a Seret 7, which has 1 year of training, and then I did a few months of medical school to be in-field medic. And yeah, that was my army.
So I'm gonna ask several questions now. First is, what do you do? Like, what are the main things that you think that you do during this year? Okay, let's start with that.
What is the main thing?
Like, what do you do during this 1 year of training?
Oh, okay. So of course there's the basic training that every soldier that is a ground troop, has to do, which is shooting, being able to navigate, being able to fight in a squad, in a team, in a pair, in a one person. Different situation, either when it's inside a house you're fighting in, or if it's in a tunnel, or if it's in or just on the field outside, like many different.
Did you train for Gaza, for example, like, or did you, like, how do you train to different? Like the Lebanon is on the hills and then Gaza is completely city.
Yes.
Did you have to go through like difference in like how do you train for that, or did you not, or is it how does it work? Okay.
My basic training was very general, nothing specific. We did like all kinds of scenarios, being very open-minded, just like learning to hold a gun correctly, to be in position as fast as possible, and to react to situations as fast as possible. Like those basic, and to be able to handle problems in the weapon during combat, stuff like this.
What would you say was the hardest thing? Like the hardest thing to learn?
The hardest thing to learn, it's not about it being hard. It's like the thing about being a soldier is that you can always be a better soldier. You can always sharpen your skills more. You can always, like, the difference between you being alive in the field or being dead can be less than a half a second. You know, it's like just reaction time, this knowing where to look, where to watch, and like being alert for long periods of time. And the how intense the training is is for me was the hardest. Like you always have to train. You have to always have to be alert. You always have to be on your feet and do some every minute of your day is accounted for.
Did you ever feel that you were in a situation where if you were slower, it would have ended differently?
There were times that there were riots in which they would throw a bunch of stones at us, and like huge stones, and boulders and stones, and like it would, like you could see a rain of stone just coming at you. So you have to be very sharp to know, of course, to move away from the stones, to always look up. So one of my friends wasn't so sharp and got it in the face and all his teeth broke, like stuff like this.
The reservists are used more because there is not constant training that they're in. They're dull. They're a little bit duller, I think.
Yeah, we are duller, like we're not as sharp and we're not as young, and not all of us as physically as fit as we used to be. And it can make a big difference. Like when you're younger, you're like more worryless, like you don't have a family in which you're thinking about all the time at home. It's a different headspace, which can make a big difference when you're in the field.
Right. So the reservists are like more supporting, right? Or how does it work?
Actually, like reservists can get the same missions, and different units have it differently. And right now, I'm personally as a Sayeret, the Special Forces of the Armored Corps. So many times we get jobs that are like not really meant for tanks, not really meant for field troops. We're like very in between, so we don't get like to do the very tough, dirty work and not like get into buildings and fight face to face as much. And we are reservists, just like you said, which makes the likelihood of us having to deal with
so what kind of
situations
are you specialized in? What kind of scenarios?
A Sayeret, its job is mostly to bring intelligence back to the unit. And we are stationed in strategic spots. And we have like special equipment to find enemies around us and to be able to give this information back to the units we are from.
The troops, yeah.
The troops, and that's how we kind of protect our like other units. Like we are in field, like we would mostly not get into completely unscathed areas, which a lot of terrorists reside. But we are protecting areas that are or like already soldier already went through, but like of course there's always more terrorists hiding in tunnels, and they might appear anywhere in time.
How do you feel about the scrutiny or the microscope treatment, I would call, that the IDF is getting from media and the ICC and things like that?
What I feel like, it's frustrating, of course. You know, in situations of war in which like a decision you make in a brink of an eye, like in a second, it can be a mistake. Like I'm sure, like people are IDF soldiers do mistakes in the field. Like no, like it's impossible to be perfect.
Right.
And the way the terrorists are fighting, it's like impossible to do our jobs cleanly and to protect our main job at the end of the day is to protect our people, to have Israeli citizens live safely. And Hamas, the way they fight and the way they are supported also, sadly, by their people, it makes it very, very hard for us to live up to the insane expectations from like the world, like from all the eyes are like watching us, just looking for mistakes, something
To leech on,
yeah,
to suck on. I know.
exactly. So but for me, I'm me as a soldier, I try not to look at what the world is saying. I'm here to do my job, and at the end of the day, I'm also human, and I'm not gonna be humane because the world is like watching me. I'm gonna be humane because I'm not a person who would just want to kill people. It's like
yeah, you are not a person like that. In fact, like I tend to be a lot more brutal than you are when I talk about like punishment and geopolitics and things like that.
Yeah, I think it's very different like perspectives you and I get, because at the end of the day, like you are not in the field, and you don't have to do the
They
whatever
do their
thing,
dirty,
the
ugly,
the ugly work yourself. Like of course you're like, you see the situation here in Israel, and you see that so many of your friends die, and you see so many of the soldiers and people you love that are dying. You're like of course you would like, you don't care like what you see in because your people are the most important thing for you, and same thing for me. But I think as a soldier, for me, it's very important to be human, and it's like something that I like every time I had to do something in a populated areas, but I had to like come for someone who's how do you say it, a suspect of terrorism or something like that. We would stop him at his house, and I would try to be as human as possible towards the family, towards like the polite kids. I don't know about politeness, but just like keep it human, to keep like to treat them as humans, not just like objects that are there, because mothers are there, kids are there many times. It's like situations that are like very tense. Like at the end of the day, the dad is probably someone who's supporting Hamas or terrorists or whatever, or maybe not, or maybe just a suspect. Maybe like I don't know. I don't like. I just come and do my job and to arrest the person who's a suspect. So for me, it was like very important to be very human and to treat the family or whatever was in the field like I think is appropriate for a family to treat kids and mothers and whatever.
Do you feel like it makes a difference?
If it makes a difference, like I'm not a political person. I don't see things in a political way. I seem like what's important for me is to be human and a good person myself, and to keep the good energy in the world. Like I'm not like expecting from other people
Do
to
you
do.
feel like you're unique in that, or are most soldiers like that?
I think soldiers are like all human, all families, and when they see mother or children, they would treat them as mothers and children.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, like some are like there's like exceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here and there, it's like tens of thousands of soldiers. Like
Yeah, but have you seen exceptions yourself?
Personally, no.
No, never. So you everybody you worked with, you feel like they had the same standards as you had?
I believe so.
Yeah. Okay, so they like you could see it, right? Because like you can see how they're treating, or no, like when during arrest you're not alone, so you can see how other soldiers are behaving as well.
Like the people like around me were very gentle, very respecting. Before, like every time before we got into the situations, like our commanders would talk to us. Look, at the end of the day, it's a family, and the people around the suspect are not necessarily involved, and like you have to be treating them with respect. And it's like something that would like come back every time we had to do our job, like keep our humanity, keep our like to have high standards of humanity for ourselves.
Conduct. Okay. Yeah, this is very different from our neighbor. Do you, I mean, it's interesting to me. Does it make it might make them more cooperative. They might look at it as a weakness, but it's not something that is your question to ask as like people, soldiers on the ground, right?
Again, what?
Like in a way, I think like in my mind, right? If I think about it, it's like there are several options. Is either they see it as a weakness to exploit that you're being so, or they it makes them more cooperative, right? So next time you come, they're like, okay, we already know the shtick. We might as well give the one that is supposed to be arrested to the soldiers, then try to resist. I don't know. Like I'm just saying, it's interesting. Like in theoretical question, which really should not be. It's not your problem as a soldier to even think about those things like that, right?
So far, like every arrest I ever had, the family itself was non-resistant, but like the village or whatever, rocks and stuff like this, they would throw stuff from roofs and try to hurt us in some way. But the arrested person and the family, like for me personally, no resistance. Of course, we're soldiers. We have guns. Like, it wouldn't be very wise of them to resist in this situation. But like, just not something I encounter in myself.
And how do you feel about Arabs? Like with, you're trying to arrest the terrorist and then the whole village trying to protect someone who is clearly dangerous.
Like I know they hate us. They like they're being taught that we are demons, that they're awful, that like we are not humans, and they have a lot of hate towards us. And from very young age, like you can see 10 years old, 11 years old, they like their hobbies would be to throw rocks at the passing cars or soldiers, and especially during like there's Ramadan periods, there's like they have their holidays.
But how do you see them then?
How do I see them? Like what do you mean? How do I see
like
them?
Does it make you like, how do you feel like about that? I mean, they see us as somebody that they need to annihilate.
Yeah.
And they have no mercy.
Yeah.
Yet you come and you feel like you should have like the most, act out of respect and like completely different standards. which I know you don't judge yourself by their standards. You're judging yourself by your own, like our standards, like your own standards. But how does it make you feel that they're so different?
Again, I'm not a very political person, and like
just as a,
I'm there to do my job. At the end of the day, the suspect is probably either planning a terrorist attack, or is a terrorist, or is connected to terrorists, or something like this. The kids or the people that throw rocks, I don't see it as my, like, I don't think much about them, or like, I don't see that it's like a situation that is given. I know they don't really know Jews personally, for a fact. I know that they have their leaders that are like very anti-Israel, and they're very religious people, and with that comes many times a lot of Jew hate and Israelis hate. And their culture doesn't condone, like
it doesn't
condemn being a terrorist, and it supports it in a way.
But it doesn't make you like feel anything?
No, like it's my, at the end of the day, as a soldier.
No, just as a.
You are just like as a soldier. You have to.
So super professional.
Super professional, exactly.
So this is my impression right now. So the IDF is super professional. They come, they do what they have to do because that's what you have to do. You have to arrest terrorists. There is no way around it.
And then there's the situation around it.
And then you don't get emotionally involved with everything else that's happening.
Exactly.
Interesting. Wow. Yeah, so to me it's the same. Like you're not the only IDF soldiers I got to speak to, but it's like the same like impression that I got. It's like we come, we do, like there are people around that are being brainwashed and things like that, but we have our mission, it's this and that, and that's what we're doing, and we don't like there's no focus on how they feel about us, or like resentment towards it even, which is insane to me, like that you can go through all of that and still not feel resentment.
I don't think resentment is very healthy for a soldier. I don't think being me as a person who has to do what he has to do. I come from love. I come from love from my family, for my friends, and for the people around me. And I come to protect, and I know that if I'm not going to be sharp in the field and be responsive and be as professional as I can in the moment of that it matters, my friends might die. The soldier next to me, my friend, might get injured, might lose a leg. So I don't think that being extremely emotional and involved, and I try to get away as much as possible from the media to focus on what's here and now, and to be focused on the job.
That's amazing. That's actually smart. Then you can be just, keep it professional.
Exactly.
Amazing. Okay, now I have a question. Like, it's not a question. I have an ask for you. An ask.
Yes.
So there is the story that you told when you were serving in the army. I think it was in the Sadil, right? When you were
yes,
in service, not just a reservist, not just being a reservist is also a lot of work, though. But I did. Anyway, so you told the story that you had an incident in the border with Egypt. We almost had a war break-in between us and Egypt.
No, it's no war was gonna happen.
So Danny, defend yourself. How did you not almost have an international incident?
So during my service in the army, we had to guard the Egyptian border, and like most of the work in the Egyptian border is to stop drug smugglers from smuggling drugs from Egypt to Israel. And so at like one of the times, in the middle of the night, it was completely dark. Couldn't see anything. Like
No moon.
no moon, nothing. Like you couldn't see anything 20 meters away. We were called. The drug smuggling was going on, and like we were called to the field to handle the situation. And we got there a bit late. A bit of drugs were left on the fence. So we came, like they just ran away before we got there. So we came to collect the leftover drugs.
And then you partied. You had like immediately, like you set up a rave and you partied. Like
Shh, don't say it's a secret, big secret.
Yes.
Yes. No party was was going on after. But like we went there and like we went to collect the drugs, and the Egyptian border police thought we were the smugglers, and the way they handle smugglers, they shoot them.
Yeah, so anything that moves, they just shoot. Like they don't think, they shoot.
So they thought we were the smugglers, so they started shooting at us, and like we knew that like something might be wrong here because no smugglers would shoot at us, and the Egyptian police wouldn't shoot at us. So we went to behind the fences. And one of our guys is a Bedouin which speaks Arab. He's a Bedouin. It's his job to find like footsteps in the fields of Elditch to help us find
By
smugglers.
the way, the Bedouins have like a unique job in the army that is called gashashut. That is just sensing the ground, right? Like they know the desert ground better than anyone, so they can tell if somebody, if you pass around and you like make a rock like end up in a wrong angle, they'll be like, this is a weird angle for a rock to be in. So, and then they'd be like, they'd know that somebody passed just by things like that, which is insane.
Exactly. So this guy, he speaks Arabic, of course. He's shouted to them, it's IDF, and they stop, and that's the whole story.
But you told like you heard the bullet going.
Oh yeah, like you saw the fence get hit above you, around you.
Wow.
It was
scary. It's accidents happen a lot in general during the army, so it's very. Anyway.
Yes.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for telling me. Thank you for having me. I mean, it's amazing. I was very happy.
Very spontaneous.
It was super spontaneous. Super spontaneous. I was like, how about I ask you a few questions? Would you answer? Like, okay.
Yalla.
All right. Thank you all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. What else to do? They have shared this video. Thank you all for watching. See you later.
Yalla, bye.